once she opened it.
MAVIS, thank you both for joining us in the HUBurban as we ride around RTP and we talk about our new development of HUBRTP.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
In 3 words, sum up what it means to live and work in the Triangle. You both are creative, so I'll give you some creative licensing.
Yeah.
If you need more than 3, but
arts and culture. That's why I'm here. That's why I stay here. Yeah.
Awesome.
People. Access.
Okay.
And fun.
Yeah. And food. I'm gonna add food in there.
Yes.
Not to yours.
16 words.
Here, I'll get rid of the and.
Because arts and culture.
Arts, culture, food.
Arts, culture, food.
Talk to us a little bit about what you're doing in Pop Box and what your gallery is doing right at Boxyard RTP.
You know, I don't think that people think of the South when they think about arts. And so I think that's one thing we're doing is raising the visibility of arts, because we do have in the Triangle a lot of amazing artists and amazing art organizations.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Laura and our work is raising visibility of that, but also making it a personal experience for people, because we want people to actually, we want the whole community to engage in art. We think that art is transformative and we want to make it accessible to everyone.
Pop Box is our first collaboration together, but the two of us have been working in and supporting artists and the arts for quite a while. We're both based in Durham. And Pop Box Gallery, we really came up with that concept in response to the opportunity that Boxyard RTP was offering and that the RTP Foundation was presenting, this chance to try something out. So this first 3-month residency at Boxyard has been the very beginning chapter of Pop Box Gallery, and we're hoping that this is going to continue to pop up in other spaces all across the Triangle. So we feature local artists in zero commission exhibitions. We present arts programming like Artist Talks with community art making events. We've got a life-size coloring book event coming up.
It's going to be in a shipping
really
container.
trying to get people, really trying to get folks engaged with the local arts community.
We always hear about STEM, and sometimes we forget to broaden that out to make it STEAM.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we know, STEAM and STEM are closely related. And being creative and being artistic, all of that works together. What would you tell your younger self? A bit of advice that you would give your younger self.
Like, why not?
Right.
Like, I'm a lawyer, a death and dirt attorney who works with families to keep their family real estate over multiple generations. Like, what I do for my life is not related to art, but I love art. I love how art influences me, how art transforms me.
Yes.
And so for me to work in this space, it really is just like, why not? Instead of why should you do this, why not do this?
I would, similar vein, trust yourself. It's not going to be perfect. Do it anyway. Buy art. Building an art collection is an amazing process. It's an incredible asset. It's a great way to connect to folks in your community, and so I would buy that art piece.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Earlier.
So yeah.
And find the people who see you and accept you and are gonna hold you accountable.
One of the things we've constantly heard as a theme is the diversity of the Triangle, and the fit is one of the things that people love, whether it be where you live. If you live in Durham, if you live in Cary, you live in Raleigh, wherever, you'll find a fit. But you do things across the board. So talk about individually how you're making an impact in the Triangle?
Civic service is a big one.
Yes.
That would be a piece of advice I'd give my younger self too, is like get to know your elected officials and get involved in local politics and volunteer and show up. So I serve on the Cultural Advisory Board and the Public Art Committee for the City of Durham.
Awesome.
And find that to be really fulfilling work. Connecting, the work that we're doing in Popbox Gallery and that I'm doing in other professional pursuits is about connecting artists to resources.
Yes.
And about making the arts accessible to anybody who wants to engage with them. Also through advocacy, through community engaged arts projects. There's a place for everybody here. Just get involved in what you feel passionately about.
It's one of the things I think that people don't realize is how cool Durham is.
Yeah.
Like, when I knew I was relocating,
so we've known for so long.
I knew I was coming to Durham. Like, I wasn't going to live anywhere but Durham because Durham's so cool. Not a knock on any other city in the region, but Durham just has this feel, this artsy, cultural feel. Talk about that. Let's stay right there and talk about the cultural arts feel in Durham.
I think we should talk about the renaissance that Durham has experienced over the last 10 to 15 years, because you were part of that, Laura, with your founding of the Carrick Gallery. And I feel like that, along with a few other things that happened during that period, really did thrust Durham into this space where it's about food and culture and art, of course, but it's also about innovation. It's about community. Yes. Durham has an attitude, and I like it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Such a rich, such a rich and present history too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But around, what was that? 2011.
2011 is when I moved to Durham and opened an art space, and things felt so possible in downtown Durham then. And some things have changed, like some of that energy, those people, the incredible amount of artistic talent that is present. That pride, that history, that is present. What is going to be interesting to see is what happens as property values continue to rise. I mean, that's the biggest difference between Durham now and Durham in 2011. It was possible to open an art space in downtown Durham then in a way that it's not anymore. Yes.
What don't they tell you about North Carolina that you wish people would know?
I mean, I think Mavis touched on that a little bit with like the arts. I think the arts community, there are like world-renowned musicians, visual artists, dancers, filmmakers who live and make their work in this state, and really specifically in the Triangle. I think that's one of our biggest assets as a community.
I'm tempted to talk about it in the context of pollen, because people don't talk about pollen.
So real.
That is very timely. Very timely.
I don't know if that's a selling point,
but pollen is so critical to life. Those queen bees need that pollen, and bees are essential. Our world revolves.
You did that. You're right.
But also, people when I was working in DC, people kept referring to the Carolinas. I'm like, there's two.
Right.
And they're not the same.
They're not the same.
Nope.
At all.
They're not the same. So I think that's another thing. There's not a Carolina. There's North Carolina, there's South Carolina, and we're very different.
Yes.
I think both the geographic diversity, the temperate climate, the biodiversity. I mean, you can do really anything in North Carolina, and including innovate and launch a unique business that can impact people across the world. And that's what was exciting about this residency with Boxyard. I mean, I think that's on a micro level, a demonstration of how this area supports innovation and experimentation and all that. So, I don't think people really associate that with North Carolina. I think because we are in the South, most folks automatically think about the South as a whole.
Yes.
But North Carolina is pretty special.
Yeah, I agree. But talk to us about career path. And you're an attorney by trade. What led you there?
I've shared this a few times. My dad promised me a Corvette when I was 6 if I graduated from law school. So
wow. Was it red?
It was orange.
Orange Corvette.
That's the first Corvette I saw was orange. He did upon graduation from law school. My parents did pay off my Honda.
There you go.
So, and I still drive Hondas. But yeah, I became a lawyer. I didn't know what a lawyer was. And even when I graduated law school, I actually didn't start practicing for the first few years. And then when I started practicing, it was in the Triangle, awesome. In a small practice, and doing a lot of residential real estate closings, doing a lot of estate administration, etc.
Yes.
So most of my career has really been connected with people dying or planning for when they transition, and people who maintain real estate as a source of intergenerational wealth. And that's super specific. Yes. But I will say that working in this area has allowed me the freedom to just have a kind of super specific legal career, and work on, I've started 2 businesses here, my law firm and now AirShares. It's been a great place to be a unique lawyer.
We've heard, this area, entrepreneurial, being able to do what you want to do, you can do that here.
Yeah.
So talk to us about your career path.
Yeah, you really can. I mean, I was on track to, always I've been passionate about the arts. And so I went to school at UNC to study studio art and art history, and was sort of on a path to be a maker. Yes. And realized that really what I really love and wanted to pursue was a more curatorial and arts sort of supporting role for artists. So helping artists put together exhibitions, working with arts institutions to present work, to push for more equitable and inclusive systems and practices. And so I've had great opportunities to work with lots of this state's great arts institutions. I started out as an intern at North Carolina Museum of Art in the curatorial department. I learned a lot there about museum spaces. Have worked in some community art centers, including the Art Center in Carborough, did a little bit of arts teaching, did a curatorial residency at the McCall Center in Charlotte. But the biggest project so far, and one that I'm just so proud of, is the Carrick, which was a zero commission art gallery that was open for 8 years in downtown Durham. We had a new show every 2 weeks for 8 years. Which is a pace that only someone in their 20s can possibly keep up with.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but we, hundreds of artists came through there, and and I'm proud. I'm proud of that. I'm proud that we're a part of so many artist stories in this area because of their time at the Carrick.
I feel like we're sitting with the godmother of downtown Durham arts.
I cannot claim that, but I'm proud to be a part of that scene and that story.
And we were talking about this recently, Laura, that the manner in which you have pursued your work and supporting the arts is really as an advocate and a champion of the arts. I think on the surface it's easy to associate art with pleasure and privilege. Right. But what you've done is actually made arts artist accessible, art accessible, championed artists. You've been there for artists in a way that is really special. So I don't want to miss that
Thank you
in this conversation, because I do think it's really important. I think it could be easy to dismiss the significance of art in this area, but it really is significant.
Yeah.
From more than just a consumption perspective.
It's a vital part of life.
Yeah.
And access to the arts. Yeah. And artists need support, making sure that artists are paid, that artists have opportunities, that our arts institutions are well resourced. That it's a crucial part of a vibrant community.
Mavis, talk a little bit about the other thing that you do with African American land
and
I don't
cheese.
want to mess it up. So you take it from there. Just tell us what that entails and what you do on that end.
Yeah, so I work with the American Forest Foundation as director of the Sustainable Forestry and African American Land Retention Project.
There we go. That's what I was trying to say.
Long name. So trees are important. I think many of us can agree to that. Most forests in America, or the highest proportion of forests in America, are actually owned by families, including African American families. Most African American families own forests in the southeastern United States. So just aligning my interest around helping people from the legal perspective, but also thinking about opportunity and strategies that help people be good stewards of their real estate, of their land. Working in this program has provided me with the ability to do my work differently. So I practicing law is important, and addressing the legal issues is still something that I do, but I get to do it in the context of forestry.
Yeah.
Wow.
And air shares too. Please tell us
air
about
shares.
air shares.
Yes. So another startup in the Triangle.
I'm taking over that host role just a little bit.
So when I had my law practice, a lot of the work that I did with families was actually helping them prove ownership. Like for many families that maintain ownership of real estate over generations through inheritance, they actually have difficulty proving they own the property, and then that gets in the way of being good stewards of their property and retaining it as an intergenerational asset.
Yes.
And so I desired something simpler than using my mind to trace ownership and to do math, because I'm not good at math. And so I decided to, with my co-founders, to launch AirShares, which is building technology solutions for management of family real estate and resolving legal challenges. So we're not replacing lawyers, we're just making it more affordable and accessible. I guess that's a theme for me.
Yeah, clearly it is. I love it.
Y'all had mentioned the ability to curate pieces for companies in the park, or to outfit some of the spaces in the park. And I think as folks return to the office, which based on my commute the last few days, I think is happening.
Absolutely.
That might be something that companies may be looking to do and refresh and revitalize their space. So I wanted to give you guys a second to share a little bit about what that looks like.
Well, one thing, I suspect that there are quite a few companies in the park that actually have art collections. I know SAS is not technically in the park, but it's park adjacent, and they have a massive collection. But companies have art collections, and I think that's something that many people don't know. But if you think about the environment, I know I don't work in commercial real estate, but if you think about the work environment, I think art plants play a big role in how people work. And so we're excited about the idea of being of service to companies to include in their collections, include in their workspaces, artwork that is connected to the Triangle, connected to North Carolina.
In terms of building a collection, we're hoping that we can help create pathways and encourage businesses to purchase work, acquire works, but we also want to build connections for companies to exhibit work temporarily. Any space that has, I'm a stickler about lighting, good lighting, and some wall space, even some floor space for sculpture can turn into a gallery space. And that can spark, not only are you supporting local artists by exhibiting their work, but that, like Mavis says, it's adds to a work environment. Also, like, can spark conversations, new ways of thinking, expand your creativity by being around works of art, no matter what field you're working in.
Yes.
This one question I've been wanting to ask everyone, because everyone has told us that they're here for the food, and we have yet to ask anybody what their favorite restaurant is. So I'll narrow it down and say favorite restaurant in Durham.
I can't do that.
There's so many. I can't do that either.
Can we go by food item?
Like genre?
Yeah.
Where's your favorite burger?
Alley 26,
Bar Vergil is my favorite burger.
I haven't had their. Oh, I need to have their burger. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And the federal.
Yes.
That's a throwback.
That is a throwback. Yes. I spent so much time at the
I'm sorry,
Federal.
Sarah. I cannot pick a
when I first
single
went to
restaurant, but
Those were 3 good options. Though.
yeah.
At least we know where you
It's
go.
great.
Taco Bell. Just kidding.
Taco Bell.
Saltbox seafood.
Saltbox. Oh
Chef
yeah.
Ricky.
Yes.
Oh, don't sleep on that. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, but and then like we have Piri Piri Durham, which is a catering company. They don't have they're not in a brick and mortar, but
Right.
their food is also excellent. Indulge Catering. It's
Yeah.
also
Indulge is
excellent.
And the Palace, which does not have a
Yeah.
brick and mortar anymore, which I seriously miss.
Yeah.
The Palace International is a favorite.
Yeah.
And they are still doing catering.
Well, thank you.
Show enough.
Yeah.
Have you
Show
been
enough
to
is
the-
not.
great. Have you been to the new place?
Yes.
Yes, since they moved. Yes.
And I have to say, where the Show Enough and Joe Van Gogh being neighbors is
Yes.
exemplary of what Durham is.
It 100% is.
Oh, yeah.
It 100%
Yeah.
is. When I moved
I
to
can see
Durham, Durham is the only place that I've ever seen that has a fresh market right beside a dollar store. You will not see that anywhere but in Durham. That's the only place you will
Whatever
see
you
that.
need.
Exactly. Or like if you go down, what is that university where Compare? I know it's really Compare.
It's Compare.
But there's like $1 million houses across the street from Compare,
Yes.
and around the corner from a gas station that sells, what do they call it? Country snacks, like pork rinds.
Yes.
Salt and vinegar pork rinds.
Yes.
Like that's Durham.
It is.
Yeah.
It is 100% Durham, and it is the diversity in every aspect. Durham is so diverse, and this region is literally so diverse.
And Sarah, if you don't know Show Enough or Joe Van Gogh, but Joe Van Gogh is a coffee shop, your hip coffee shop on a small neighborhood block, and then next to Show Enough, which is fried deliciousness. Oh, they have some boiled
They do.
deliciousness too.
Their broils are really good. Low country broils.
Oh, I love a
I
little
can't
country
do
broil.
It's amazing. Yes.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, and the I would say the patrons of both are so different,
Vastly
but
different.
also so Durham.
Yes.
Yeah.
We thank you both for being with us, and thank you for everything that you're doing
Thank you.
personally and everything that you're doing for the region and highlighting the arts that is here in the region. That little well-known secret that we don't want to be a secret is that the South is actually the place for arts.
That's
The
right.
South has something to say.
The South has something to
Yes.
say. That's right. Word to Outcast. Thank you so much. And we will end on that note.
Cool. Thanks for having us.